coming in this way. If you guys want to take one more step towards you, I think that's just about everybody. Oh my gosh, you guys are a big and beautiful group. Still coming in? Sorry, we're a little bit of tight quarters. We have a little bit more room to spread out once we leave our front area. Oh, all right, looks like our door is closing. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Walt Disney Archives Presents Charting the Course. This is Disney Global Stories and Inspirations. So with the overall theme of the event being Disney Worlds, we were trying to think of how do we create something that kind of goes with that theming, and this is what we started with. So here we enter into the research phase of any Disney project. So we use two different case studies to illustrate that. Over in that first section there, you'll see black and white photos from Walt and El Grupo's trip in 1941 to South America. And these were all the reference items that were used to create Three Caballeros as well as Saludos Amigos. We also wanted to then bring a more modern example into the fold. So here we have some of the Imagineering research trips throughout Asia and Africa that resulted in Disney's Animal Kingdom. So we of course have lots of photography here. So this is where really this project starts, right? Because whenever you're thinking about any Disney project, whether it's animation, live action, or theme parks, you want to add that authenticity, especially if you're recreating nature or something that exists in the real world. You want it to feel authentic, you want it to feel real, so you really suspend disbelief when you're watching the project or being immersed in the project. So that's why this research is so important. So we started with our photography here that really sets our inspiration up. Then we turn to the other side of the room and we see these research pictures kind of start becoming concepts. So we have over here some artists such as Mary Blair and Lee Blair kind of creating as they're on the site. And then their illustrations come to life a little bit. And similarly over here with Joe Rohde, we have some of his sketches, as well as in this case, we have his sketchbook and also a pair of boots that he wore on many of his exhibitions. Including for Disney's Animal Kingdom, for Alani, and also Pleasure Island. So now that we've reached the concept stage, we're inspired, but let's get a little deeper into concept if you want to head into our next area. Concept area. So we created this large wall here that really brings the color, the excitement of all these inspirations to life. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Come on in, come on in. See, we're just about all over. Oh, so sorry. All right, so like I said, we're now in the concept phase. We have our inspirations. We're starting to get a little more formal with our designs to really work toward making our project. So over here, you'll see 4 really exquisite pieces of original artwork. We have that first piece is done by Mary Blair, and that was done for Three Caballeros. The second piece we have is from Swiss Family Robinson. The third piece is from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. There's that beautiful underwater seascape. And then finally, we have a more recent piece. This is from Mufasa. But this is actually a really interesting piece because it was created for inspiration. So the director was trying to get how do I create this film? So he commissioned an artist to create some pieces that would kind of serve as inspiration when creating the film. So we have this lovely piece here. So from there, we get into our model making phase. And then we get into our global explosion, essentially. But I'd love to turn your attention to this model here. I'm not sure if any of you came to Epcot between 1999 and 2001, but there was something called the Millennium Celebration. You might have noticed these lovely puppets on either side of us. These were puppets from the Tapestry of Nations Parade. And if you're anything like me, it's one of my childhood core memories. It's one of the most fantastic parades I've ever seen. And these were puppets that were worn on harness by the performers. So they actually were quite a few feet taller, and they would go around the World Showcase. As also part of that celebration, we have the Millennium Village. So this was between the Canada and the UK Pavilion, and this was actually a village that existed that had different countries with different activations. There were different experiences you could go through. There was a theater, there was a cafe, there was also artisans that were creating different pieces as well that you could purchase. So this is a really cool model that we love to display here. So now we've got our concepts down and we're ready for our global celebration, which brings us to the last part of our room where there's more of our finalized pieces. So as we're working our way this way, we try to break it up a little bit geographically. So over in this corner we have Africa, then we transition here into South America. We have a little bit of Europe with our models and our angel here, and then Asia in this corner. I'd love to start over in this corner with Asia, if you don't mind coming over this way, or coming to Africa, excuse me. We have a few pieces that celebrate the Lion King. We have some maquettes from the animated film, and then we have this really stunning model of Pride Rock from the live action film. One last piece that you might recognize in our Africa section, here we have Little Red. This was an elephant that was used at the finale scene of Kilimanjaro Safaris when the attraction first opened. She's one of my favorites. Big Red fan, or Big Little Red fan. So then we move into South America, and we have some pieces from the live action film, The Jungle Cruise. We have costumes that were worn by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson here, as well as Emily Blunt, and the lovely prop arrowhead necklace. Here we have the map to the Tears of the Moon, as well as some of the pieces that are inside the book on display. And finally, a sign here from Nyla's River Adventure. Now we're heading into Europe, and you see these really beautiful models here on these two tables. This one here is Germany, of course, and this is from before the park opened, so it's a pretty early model. And then behind us is a model of the stage church from Norway, and you can see a beautiful snowy scene of that. Both of these have exquisite detail, so if you get time, make sure you give Isla one to really peek into the image. But my favorite piece, actually, from the Europe section is that gold angel. She's a little bit tiny, but what's really spectacular about her is she's our newest acquisition in the Walt Archives. If you go into the Italy Pavilion, that first tower you enter, there's actually a very small gold angel statue on the top that you maybe not even noticed. She actually was recently removed by WDI and they've replaced her. So now she is in our collection. So we're so excited to have her. And it's definitely the closest you'll ever be able to get to this statue, because usually way up high. And then finally, let's turn our attention to the other corner, where we move into Asia. So we of course have Mulan's lovely costume here from the live action Mulan. Along with that, in this case, we have the sword that was gifted to her by the Emperor. Both the sword, the sheath, as well as the case were all custom made. So really spectacular detail. If you get a chance to get up close, really take that in. And then we have some models up front. This is the Singapore village from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. What also is cool about this model is if you look at these first three buildings, they're actually the same building, but it's in different phases of the process of creating the model. So once again, if you get a chance, please get close, take in those beautiful details. That pretty much brings us to the end of our tour. Like I said, feel free, take a look around. If you have any questions, I'll be here. Feel free to let me know. Thank you guys so much for coming by. Thank you. We did it. This is a cute shirt. I've never seen this one.
backstage Animal Kingdom things used to see because he sat in front of one of the cast buildings backstage.
That's it.